The night swallows the city whole, leaving only pockets of sickly yellow light from street lamps that flicker like dying candles. The alley is a wound between buildings, narrow, claustrophobic, the kind of place where secrets go to rot. Rain slithers down the brick walls, and the air is thick with the stink of wet garbage and something sharper, something coppery. Blood. Old or new, it's hard to tell. Our protagonist, maybe a detective with whiskey on his breath and shadows under his eyes, maybe a thief who knows these streets too well, maybe just some poor bastard who took a wrong turn, moves through the gloom like a ghost. Their shoes scuff against cracked pavement, the sound swallowed by the distant wail of a siren. Then a noise, not rats, something heavier, a boot scuffing concrete, a grunt of effort. Up ahead, a figure crouches in the deeper dark near a dumpster, hauling something limp. A body? A sack of stolen goods? The protagonist freezes. The figure hesitates, head cocked like a dog catching a scent. For a heartbeat, the alley holds its breath. Then the figure moves, swift and silent, leaving their burden behind as they melt into the night. The protagonist should walk away. They know that, but they don't. They step closer. The thing on the ground is a man, his throat slit ear to ear, his mouth open in a silent scream. His eyes are glassy, reflecting the flickering light. One hand is curled into a fist, clutching something. A matchbook from a club across town, a key, a scrap of paper with a phone number smeared in blood. A clue, a mistake. The protagonist reaches for it. Behind them, a shadow shifts. They're not alone. Midnight bleeds into the city like ink into wet paper, dissolving the edges of things until all that remains are smears of neon and the occasional sickly glow of a dying street lamp. The alley isn't on any map, not the kind respectable people use anyway. It's the kind of place where the air itself feels greasy, clinging to your skin like the memory of a bad decision. The rain isn't falling so much as oozing from the sky, turning the cobblestones into a black mirror that reflects only the things that don't want to be seen. Our protagonist, let's say a washed-up private eye with a .38 in his coat pocket and last month's rent in his teeth, shouldn't be here. That's the first rule of alleys like this. If you're here, you're either lost or looking to stay lost. The second rule is that the shadows have teeth. A sound cuts through the drip and hum of the city's diseased heart. Not the scuttle of rats or the creak of a fire escape. Something wetter. Something that makes the hair on the back of the protagonist's neck stand up like soldiers at attention. 20 feet ahead, a figure kneels in the filth, their silhouette warped by the rain. They're working at something. No, dragging something. The way you drag a sack of wet cement. The way you drag a body. The protagonist freezes. His hand finds the .38's grip without thinking. The figure stops moving. For 3 heartbeats, the alley holds its breath. Then, movement. Too fast. The figure is gone, leaving only the whisper of rain on leather and the thing they left behind. It's a man, or what's left of one. His face is a mess of dark angles and darker stains. One eye stares at the sky, the other's gone altogether. His shirt is open, and on his chest, carved neat as a butcher's signature, is a symbol the protagonist has seen before, in case files, in nightmares. A matchbook falls from the dead man's fingers. The Golden Lotus Club, 2 a.m., a phone number scrawled in what might be lipstick. The protagonist reaches for it. Behind him, metal scrapes against brick. He's not alone. He never was. The rain has thickened into a slow, syrupy drizzle by the time the protagonist kneels beside the corpse. Up close, the stench is worse. Copper and shit, and something sweet underneath like rotting fruit. The dead man's jacket is cheap polyester, stretched taut over shoulders that will never shrug again. His throat is a gaping second smile, still glistening. The matchbook from the Golden Lotus Club sticks to the protagonist's fingers when he picks it up. The cover is damp with something that isn't rainwater. Inside, the matches are pristine, untouched, but it's the writing on the flap that catches the light. A phone number scrawled in smeared red. Lipstick. Blood. Does it matter? A noise. Not the rain. Not the distant traffic. Something closer. The protagonist's breath hitches as his fingers find the dead man's inside pocket. A wallet. Cheap. Peeling at the edges. He flips it open. License, a few greasy bills, and behind them a photograph. A woman. Dark hair. A smile that doesn't reach her eyes. The corner is torn, as if someone couldn't decide whether to keep it or destroy it. Then, movement. A shadow detaches itself from the deeper blackness near the dumpster. Too tall, too still, watching. The protagonist's pulse hammers in his throat. He could run. He should run. Instead, his thumb brushes the photograph again. The woman's face is familiar. He's seen her before. Somewhere. Somewhere bad. The alley exhales, a slow, wet breath of rotting trash and damp concrete, as the protagonist slips the photograph into his coat pocket. The matchbook burns against his palm like a guilty secret. He should leave. Now, before the shadow by the dumpster decides to step into the light. But the dead man's eyes won't let him go. They stare up at the smog-choked sky, reflecting nothing. No fear, no surprise, just empty black pupils swallowing the weak glow of the street lamp. The kind of eyes that say, "You're next." A phone rings, not his. The sound comes from the dead man's pocket, muffled, insistent. The protagonist's gut twists. No one calls a corpse at midnight unless they know it's being found. He reaches for it. The shadow near the dumpster shifts. Closer now. The phone stops ringing. Silence. Then vibration. A text. The screen lights up the dead man's jacket from within, casting sickly blue shadows across his ruined throat. One word glows on the display. Run. The street lamp above them flickers. Dies. Darkness swallows the alley whole. Somewhere in the black, leather creaks. A blade kisses a whetstone. The protagonist runs. Behind him, laughter follows. Low, wet, and already tasting his fear. The photograph feels like a live wire in the protagonist's pocket as he steps back from the corpse. The alley seems to narrow around him, brick walls pressing closer like the jaws of some great beast. The street lamp overhead buzzes and sputters, casting jumpy shadows that twist the dead man's face into something almost alive, a twitching lip, a fluttering eyelid. Tricks of the light. They have to be. Then the phone rings. The sound is obscenely loud in the wet silence. A tinny rendition of some pop song the dead man will never hear again. It's coming from his right pants pocket. The protagonist's hand hovers over it. Answering feels like stepping into a noose. Not answering feels worse. When he flips the phone open, the glow paints his face, corpse pale. No caller ID, just numbers. The same numbers from the matchbook. Enjoying the show? The voice on the line is smooth as oiled glass. You always were curious? The protagonist's blood turns to ice. He knows that voice. From where? A metallic click echoes through the phone and the alley simultaneously. The sound of a hammer cocking. The street lamp dies with a sigh. Darkness. Then, hot breath on the back of his neck. "Tick-tock, detective." The words slither into his ear from the phone and the alley at once. "She's waiting for you at the Golden Lotus, but you'll want to see what's in his left boot first." The line goes dead. So might he. The dead man's boot leather creaks like a dying breath as the protagonist pries it off. The stench of sweat and stale urine blooms in the air, but beneath it, something chemical. formaldehyde, the kind they use in morgues. Inside, tucked against the arch of the foot, is a blood-smeared keycard for the Golden Lotus Club. Room 217. And something else. A Polaroid, the edges gone soft from being handled too much. The photograph shows the woman from the wallet, the one with the dead smile, but she's not alone. There's a man with her. His face is turned away, but the protagonist knows that suit, knows the way the shoulders hang just slightly uneven, the way he holds a cigarette between his ring and pinky finger. It's him, or someone wearing his clothes, living his life. The street lamp flickers back on with a pop, throwing sudden light across the alley. The shadow by the dumpster is gone. In its place, a single playing card propped against a brick. The ace of spades, on the back, in that same red scrawl, "She remembers you." Do you remember her? Somewhere in the city, a church bell tolls twice, not for the hour, for the dead. The protagonist's hands shake as he flips the Polaroid over. There's a date on the back. Yesterday. The dead man's left boot comes off with a wet sucking sound, revealing flesh gone waxy and blue at the toes. The keycard sticks to the protagonist's fingers as he pulls it free, still warm from the corpse's lingering body heat. Room 217 glows under the flickering streetlight in blood-red numerals, the same shade as the lipstick on the matchbook, but it's the Polaroid that stops his breath. The woman from the wallet photo stands in what looks like a hotel room, her dark hair mussed, that same empty smile stretching too wide across her face. The man beside her wears the protagonist's favorite tie, the navy blue one with the faint pinstripes he thought he'd lost last week. His hands grip the woman's shoulders, fingers digging into her flesh hard enough to bruise. Except his stomach lurches as the streetlight buzzes violently, shadows dancing like spectators at a hanging. When the light steadies, something new glints in the corpse's open mouth. The Polaroid slip from the protagonist's fingers, fluttering to the rain-slick pavement like dead leaves. His breath comes in ragged gasps, each one tasting of copper and the sour tang of his own fear. The alley seems to pulse around him, walls contracting like the throat of some great beast. He needs to move. Now. But the shadows move first. A garbage can topples with a metallic clang somewhere to his left. Then another, closer this time. Then another, a domino effect of noise closing in from all sides. The streetlight buzzes, flickers, and dies, plunging the alley into a darkness so thick it feels like drowning. Footsteps, not just one set, multiple, some light, almost skittering, others heavy, deliberate, all moving in sync. The protagonist bolts. Puddles explode under his shoes as he weaves through the labyrinth of alleys, his pulse a drumbeat in his skull. Behind him, laughter echoes, not just from one voice, but several, overlapping, twisting together into something inhuman. A flash of movement to his right, a figure in a long coat, face obscured by a hat. Another to his left, matching his pace effortlessly. He rounds a corner and slams into a chain-link fence. Dead end. The footsteps slow behind him. A match strikes. In the sudden flare of light, he sees them. 3 figures, all in identical coats, all wearing the same silver ring with the onyx stone. The one in the middle holds up a Polaroid camera. Click. The flash blinds him. When his vision clears, they're gone. But in their place, nailed to the fence at eye level, is a fresh Polaroid. It shows him, right now, back against the fence, face twisted in terror. Written beneath it in red, "You're the subject now." The photograph of his own terrified face stares back at him, still warm from the camera's flash. The protagonist's fingers tremble as they brush the Polaroid's edge. It's already developing too fast, the colors bleeding like fresh bruises. His own wide eyes darken to black pits in the chemical swirl. Then the whispers start. Not from the alleys, from the photograph itself, a chorus of overlapping voices barely audible, speaking in time with the slowing raindrops. Run, 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 run. The chain-link fence rattles violently behind him without wind or hand to move it. The metal wires shriek like fingernails on a chalkboard as something forces its way through from the other side. Not a person, but the shadows themselves, pouring through the diamond-shaped gaps like black oil, taking form as they hit the ground. The streetlight explodes in a shower of sparks. In the strobing afterglow, he sees them clearly for the first time. The figures aren't wearing identical coats. They're wearing his coat, same missing button near the pocket, same tear in the lining he keeps meaning to fix. On each of their hands, the silver ring glints with unnatural light, the onyx stones pulsing like slow, dark hearts. The one with the camera raises it again. This time, when the flash fires, the light doesn't fade. It sticks to his skin, burning cold. His shadow detaches from the pavement and slithers up the wall, moving independently of his body. From the camera's speaker, a familiar voice crackles. His own, but warped, like a tape left in the sun too long. You should see what happens next. His shadow peels itself completely free from the wall and steps into the alley beside him. It reaches out a hand. Somewhere in the maze of brick and fire escapes, a woman screams. It sounds like the woman from the photographs. It sounds like his mother. It sounds like him. The protagonist stumbles into his office, the door slamming behind him like a gunshot. His hands won't stop shaking. The silver ring, the one he doesn't remember putting on, feels like a shackle, cold, heavy, wrong. The lights flicker. A shadow moves in the corner. Jesus, you look like hell. The voice makes him jump. His partner, the one from the Polaroid, the one who was standing over the woman, steps out of the gloom, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee. Just like always. Just like every late-night case they've worked together for 12 years. Except. The protagonist's gaze drops to his partner's left hand. The silver ring glints in the lamplight. Long night? His partner asks, offering one of the coffees. The steam curls into the shape of a question mark before dissipating. The protagonist reaches for his gun. His partner sighs. I was hoping you wouldn't find out this way. The office door locks itself with a click. The coffee cup hits the floor. Dark liquid spreads across the tiles like blood, like ink, like the shadows in the alley. His partner's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Welcome to the family. Rain lashes against the office windows like frantic fingers trying to get in. The protagonist's clothes cling to him, heavy with alleyway filth and something darker, the inky residue of those crawling shadows still smeared across his sleeves. His breath comes in ragged bursts, each exhale fogging the glass of his. Revolver as he presses it against the base of his partner's skull. You were there. The gun trembles. That night. With her. His partner doesn't flinch, just stares at their twin reflections in the rain-streaked window, the protagonist wild-eyed and shaking, his own face calm as a still pond. The silver ring on his finger pulses faintly, the onyx stone swallowing the flickering neon from the street below. Of course I was. His partner's reflection smiles. So were you. The office lights buzz violently. For one stuttering flash, the window becomes a mirror, and the protagonist sees it. Himself, standing behind his own shoulder, dripping wet, grinning, then darkness. When the fluorescents sputter back to life, his partner has turned around. The gun now rests comfortably in his palm, the protagonist's fingers gone slack around the grip. You still don't remember, do you? His partner reaches out, brushing a thumb across the protagonist's cheekbone. It comes away black, with shadow residue. What you did to her, what we did together. Somewhere in the building, a telephone rings. The same tinny pop song from the dead man's phone. His partner presses the gun back into the protagonist's hand, barrel now pointed at his own chest. Tick-tock, detective. Outside, thunder rolls. The walls of room 217 breathe. Wallpaper peels in slow, deliberate curls like dead skin sloughing off some great beast. The air hums with the sound of a dozen overlapping whispers, all his own voice, all speaking in different tones of madness. The carpet squelches underfoot, soaked through with something thicker than water. At the room's center, the woman from the photograph sits primly on the edge of the bed, her dark hair obscuring her face. Her hands are folded in her lap, fingers interlaced with the corpse from the alley, their flesh fused together at the wrists like melted wax. "Took you long enough," she says without looking up. Her voice is shattered glass and smoke. The protagonist's gun feels like a dead weight in his hand. Useless. The shadows along the walls twitch in anticipation, forming and reforming into familiar shapes. His partner, his mother, himself. Always himself. The woman raises her head. Her face is a living photograph, features shifting between a dozen different expressions: terror, rage, ecstasy, each one freezing for a split second before dissolving into the next. When she speaks again, her mouth doesn't match the words. "You should see what you look like from inside the camera." The bathroom door creaks open behind him. Steam rolls out in great choking waves, carrying the stench of chemicals and burnt hair. Through the mist, the silhouette of a man develops like a Polaroid coming to life. Broad shoulders, uneven stance, the glint of a silver ring. The protagonist doesn't need to see the face to know. The figure steps forward. The bathroom light flickers. For one terrible, endless moment, they stand face to face. And the muzzle of the gun is cold against his own forehead. Dawn leaks through the broken blinds of room 217 like diluted blood, painting stripes across the ruined carpet. The gun lies cold and empty in the protagonist's lap, its single spent shell casing rolling in slow circles near his foot. The smell of burnt powder and wet film lingers. The woman is gone. The corpse is gone. Even the shadows have retreated to the corners where they twitch like dying insects. But the Polaroid remains. It shows the scene exactly as it is now. Him sitting on the edge of the bed, hollow-eyed, the gun limp in his hands. Only in the photograph there's a figure standing behind him. A man in a familiar coat, one hand resting on his shoulder in what could be comfort or restraint. The silver ring glints even in the grainy image. The back of the photo is dated tomorrow. A key card slips from his pocket as he stands. Golden Lotus Club, room 217. The edges are worn, as if it's been carried for years. When he flips it over, his own face stares back from the employee ID photo. Head of security. Downstairs, the club's neon sign buzzes to life, casting hellish red light through the window. Somewhere in the building, a phone rings. The same tinny pop song. Always the same song. The protagonist, or the man who used to be him, pockets the photograph and checks the revolver's cylinder. One bullet left. The whispering starts again as he steps into the hallway. Not from the walls, from inside his own head. "Next time," it says. "Next time you'll remember." The door locks itself behind him. Somewhere a camera shutter clicks. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.